All right, we're already 15 seconds in.
Yeah, it's all right, dude.
We're gonna cut it.
No, cut it.
Cut it. These issues way too hot. You need to cut it.
Cut
All right,
it.
are we? I'm just gonna go 3, 2, 1 at 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
3, 2. We are live. Episode 7. No One Told Me Hockey Podcast. Jack, what's going on?
Let's go, dude. I'm actually fired up for this one.
I'm dialed.
You fired me up earlier in the day today. Now my juices are flowing. I'm excited to get this one going. How are we doing today? Give me the rundown.
I'm doing good. Busy day today. Coming up on the end of Unit 2 in one of my classes. So finishing up some dissections, little biology class.
I forget that you're still a student.
Oh, I don't forget. It is so much work. Keeps me busy though. Keeps me busy. So schoolwork, we had practice, prepping for a playoff game this weekend. And away we go. Episode 7.
That's crazy that especially for D3, like the college season ends so early. Like if you lose this weekend, you're done. It's so wild.
Yeah, it is.
Beginning of middle of February, done with hockey already.
You know what? And I thought about that, but now the Division I season starts earlier. But I'm looking at the Division I schedule because I'm going to go to the Union Harvard game on Friday night.
Oh, cool.
And they only have this weekend and next weekend, and then they start their playoffs too. So it's only like,
oh really?
It's not. It is longer. Like I think North Dakota has this weekend, next weekend, and one more.
Okay.
But I mean, it's within the next 2-3 weeks that everybody kind of wraps up.
How many games do you play in Division I? 30?
I want to say, I should know this, probably 34. 34. Okay. I want to say 34.
Okay. I think we played 25.
Yes,
I think
so.
Not very many at all.
No, especially coming from juniors, you're playing like 80 games, sometimes 60 plus playoffs.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay, so I want to get into this real quick. So, I told you about my new camera and stuff last week. I'm like excited to go rollerblade. Well, I ended up having 3 strip screws, had to battle those out with buy a little rig piece, pull them out. So I get all my skates situated. I'm so jacked today. I get my camera. So I was filming today. I get back to the car. My front toe cap of my rollerblade exploded. It's cracked all in the front.
So you're done.
Cracked.
You're done. It's done.
I don't know when it cracked, like if it was cracking while I was skating or what, but I was still able to skate around. So
you kind of go through. Now I had that happen in a game with on ice. The toe cap burst off, and I thought I was in a corner battle. I thought, oh my god, did I just break my ankle? And I was like, no. And I looked at you feel that huge drop. It's like a drop of pressure almost because your skate's so tight.
Right.
So I looked down and my whole toe cap was off. And then what happened? It happened with my laces once. So I always had an extra pair of skates with me after that.
I'm so rattled. I just put so much work into these skates and now I got to buy new ones. It's I can't catch a break.
Could you tape it?
That's what I was thinking. It would not be good style. Super glue? Just throw some super glue?
There's some guy on my men's league team that I'm sure we're going to get into men's league at some point that tapes the white cap. Tapes the cap of his skate with white tape, and I mean he flies around, so could work.
Yeah, I think it's rollerblading at the end of the day. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but still, eventually maybe I'll get a sponsee from a company and get some new wheels under me.
That would be nice.
Some videos for them. Yeah. So I was just thinking about this. So last week for my men's league game, do you ever feel the pressure that you have to score in men's league because you played college hockey and high levels of juniors and stuff?
Oh, 100%. I mean, 100%. Not only on myself, I'm putting that pressure, but now that my buddies know that I'm playing and they kind of know I play on Monday, Tuesdays, they'll text me before, how's it going? Good luck tonight. I can't wait to hear the stat line. If I report a 0-0 stat line to them, I won't live it down for the next week.
I know, dude. And I was having this revelation about my hockey career, and I'm still doing it in men's league now, where it's I don't know why I put this pressure on me to score. I've never been a goal scorer my whole life. I've always gotten assists. I'm a good passer. I like to create, but for some reason I still continue to put this unnecessary pressure on myself to score.
You know what I feel like it, and I've had this conversation with a couple of my buddies, is you go into a men's league game and everybody's going to get there. It doesn't matter whatever league you're playing right now.
Right.
You go into a men's league game and you're expecting out of yourself 2-3 points. It's I better have a goal and 2 assists or 2 and 1 or something. Right. That is what McDavid feels like in the NHL.
Isn't that messed up?
Dead serious. Like, that is what he must feel like. If he doesn't get 1 or 2 points, he's like, I played horrible. He's on pace for like 160 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't even imagine suiting up for an NHL game and you're at least expecting minimum 1 point, if not baseline 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what it feels like.
I'd be pumped if I didn't get didn't go -3 out there.
Oh my God. It'd be pumped
minimum
to touch
dash,
the ice.
minimum dash. Yeah,
insane. It's
That's
insane.
Great. Do you think the NHL is becoming men's league to him almost? Like you're like a decent men's league?
I think what is kind of funny story that attaches to this is like when Matthews joined the league, he had that 4-goal game. His first game was a 4-goal game.
Remember I was in Springfield. We watched that.
Yeah, we watched it together. And Craig Anderson was the goalie for Ottawa at the time. It was against Ottawa. And after the game, they did a stick exchange, Matthews and Anderson. And Matthews wrote on his stick, like, thanks for a memorable night with like 4, the number 4. And Craig Anderson wrote on his, like, welcome to our men's league - Craig Anderson.
That is so crazy. Though.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow. That is pretty cool. If I was Anderson, though, I'd be kind of pissed if I got that.
Well, I think he may have done it first. Like, he may have done the welcome to our men's league first.
Oh,
and then he said, like, thanks for a memorable night or something like that. I think it's that. I know for a fact it's Matthews. I know Craig Anderson's involved. So if somebody fact checks me, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But I could be wrong.
No one's fact checking you on this podcast.
That's true.
No one's fact
I'm
checking.
not, and you're not. So we're good.
No, exactly. So I called you earlier today and you're walking in your house and you said that your house reeks. Why? Can you need a rundown on what is going on in the house?
There's a little reeks is a strong word. I got some candles lit right now. For my body.
Yeah, but it's not like it was because of you.
No.
Your habits. It was because of something.
Yes, it was because of my biology class I just mentioned. End of unit 2, a little bit of dissections going on.
Right.
Now, it's an online course, right? It's a post-bac pre-med course, and they send you the dissection kit. So little did I know that for this unit, I had to dissect an earthworm and a cockroach and a sea star. So
they're all dead when they're
all dead. They're packaged up with this nasty smelling chemical that like keeps them from like rotting.
Formaldehyde?
I don't know what it is.
Is that? Okay.
I don't know what it is. So anyway, meanwhile, today is February 15th on the recording, which means yesterday was Valentine's Day, February 14th. So I spent my Valentine's Day dissecting an earthworm, and not just dissecting an earthworm. The assignment was to cut the earthworm in half, open it up, and label the anus. So I'm looking for an earthworm's anus.
You're getting a little action. You're getting a little action on Valentine's Day.
I'm sitting there. I'm sweating because the assignment's due. I got a lot to do. I got practice to worry about. And I'm sitting here trying to find the anus of an earthworm on Valentine's Day. That's how I spent my day.
Did you have to use one of your own knives from like your kitchen?
No, they send you a 20-piece dissection kit. 20-piece dissection.
What is that? What comes in the dissection kit?
Oh, you ever see Dexter?
Whole thing.
You ever see Dexter?
We used to watch it together. Yeah. I have.
Okay. Like if you needed to take apart a body, I got the tools now. Like if I was worried. I did not leave the earthworm on my desk when I left. I put the earthworm in the trash can, but I left the tools out. Now, in my apartment building, the apartment people have like the power to walk into your room whenever they want to like.
What?
Because there's like there's like a door that's locked that's got like their stuff in it that controls like the place.
Right. Yeah.
So it's in our thing to like, they can come in and like whenever they want. So I'm worried all day now. Not only that I just spent Valentine's Day dissecting an earthworm's ass. Not only that I got practice in a playoff game coming up. Not only do I have a men's league playoff game at nighttime, but now I'm worried that they're going to come in and see that I got tools, chemicals and knives and shit all over my apartment. They're going to think I'm some sort of serial killer.
This is Dahmer-esque.
Yes.
Behavior out of you right now.
Yes.
The smell, the tools, everything.
Smell, the tools, a dead earthworm. But I finished.
You know what they say? It starts with animals. And it progresses from there.
It starts with excessive, unnecessary homework, but I love it. I do love it. So I give some credit.
So did you dissect the cockroach too, or you haven't got to that unit?
I have not got to that unit. I have a cockroach in my cabinet. That's a weird thing to say, but it's boxed up.
I think I would throw up if I had to cut open a cockroach.
You know what I tried to do. I was a little grossed out with the earthworm, but I kind of detached myself from it. I was like, all right, like it's just an assignment. It's dead. Like, just gotta get into it.
Was it still like gooey or was it all hard? Because when you cut open a worm, it can be kind of like gooey.
It was a little gooey. It's a little goopy.
Gross. How long do you think that thing was dead for?
I have no idea. It could have been probably a long time. But it's got that juice, so it's like kind of goopy still.
Ew, that's unreal. All right, so tell me about your men's league game. So you said you had a playoff game?
A little playoff game at nighttime. This was big. We've been looking forward to this all year. Guys are fired up. One guy walks in, and he's kind of glum. His dog passed away, so the good camaraderie pregame, we're kind of consoling him, kind of all getting on the same page emotionally. Yeah. God bless him. He's a great dude. We get on the ice, and it's intense. Like, we got wives in the stands. It's Valentine's Day, so some guy sacrificed that. I don't think if I had a significant other, I would be sacrificing Valentine's Day for a men's league playoff game.
Dude, it's a playoff game, though.
That's true, too. So there were some wives and kids. We got 2 refs, a scorekeeper, music in between the whistles. It's great, right? Intense right up the top.
Vibes are high.
I'm playing good. I score one early. I score another one late. Anyway, the story gets good at 4-4 because
what period?
This is the end of the second.
Okay.
It's 4-4, end of the second. It's getting intense. I go up to the ref. I took matters into my own hands because
are you captaining?
No, I'm not. But I've been very friendly with the ref.
Did you go designated captain?
No. Here's why. Our captain was at the Daytona 500 or is going to the Daytona 500. He wasn't there, and the guys were.
Does he have a C on his jersey? Does he have a C on his jersey?
No, but he should. He should.
Okay.
So I go to the ref. I say, ref, the last 2 goals that they scored, they were offsides. Am I wrong? Essentially, I said, I'm genuinely asking. Gotta be nice to him. He says no. He says no. Like, I miss those. Like, we're missing those calls. Like, we'll be on it. Like, great. Start of the period, we get a power play. Right? Maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't. It was a penalty. We get a power play. We go up 6-4. Great. Looks like we're gonna win this game. Now we got an in zone draw. 3 minutes left in the game. I'm lined up as the inside D. They got a shooter right behind the center. So I call it out, right? I got 2 hands on my stick. I point it out. Shooter, right? Just like that. Yeah. Shooter. And sure enough, what do you think happens? They snap it back to him. What's he doing?
He's shooting.
And guess what I do? And I think back at how stupid this was.
Are you wearing a visor out there, by the way?
No, I'm full cage. I'm full.
All right, good,
full
good. We get into that too. Okay.
What do I do?
Don't tell me you lay down.
I'm going knee down. Boom. Eat it. Clear it to the corner. Clear it.
You ate it?
I eat it. Like, big time eat. Right? But I'm right, it's a playoffs. How can you not? It's a best of 3 series. We're trying to set the tone. It's best of 3.
It's a best of 3?
Best of 3. Oh, yeah.
That's unreal. Dude, that could get heated quick.
Oh, well, don't worry. The best part of the story is coming up. So we clear it. Line change. I'm off the ice. Get myself off. Minute 20. Short shifts. They come in the zone. They rip one. It goes right off of our guy into the netting. So where should the draw be, Jack? Right off of our player.
In zone.
In zone. The ref who's been butchering calls all game in their favor. The hockey gods are looking out for the ticket snobs of Bedford, New Hampshire. He puts the face-off outside the zone. So the other team loses it. I'm talking, not exaggerating, 3 game misconducts. Boom. Boom.
He was teeing them up.
Teed up 3 guys. And the snobs.
I would be doing that same shit.
Oh, and the snobs take game 1, 6-4, eat the clock, 20 seconds left on a 5-on-3 power play. We're looking to end some seasons next week.
Ooh, that's a great feeling when you're going into a game and you could potentially end a season.
Nothing season better. Spoiler. I love it.
That game is going to be heated.
Oh, if they win, imagine game 3. Oh my God.
Oh my God. There might be full-on brawls out there.
I got to keep my head up.
Some of the guys I play men's league with, like, they're looking for fights out there. I'm like, dude, relax a little bit. Like,
oh my God.
Same guys every week being on my team and on other teams, running there, like, going crazy.
I went to the front of the net. The guy boxed me out. He boxed out. Boom. Boxed me out. And guess what I did? I did? I said, buddy, I'm all set. Like, that's what I said. I'm all set. He goes, looks at me, dead. Makes my job easier.
Oh my
I said,
God.
okay, buddy, it's
Okay.
10:45.
Guy, you got work in the morning. All right. I don't want to ruin your whole week. All
Yeah,
right.
let's
Settle
settle
down.
down. Let's settle down.
Oh, those guys! I got a cross check in the back last week. Like I tried to, I stopped and I spun around the first guy, and then this guy like cross checked me in the back, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" I was so pissed. I got
Gotta
a
eat
penalty
'em.
because I tripped him after,
You got a penalty?
but yeah,
Immensely?
because I was so pissed. That was my only first penalty of the year. I
Okay,
don't
that's
take
fair.
penalties.
That's fair.
Would you wear a visor out there ever?
There's zero. Is there anything less than zero in this? I would never, ever
Yeah.
in my whole life put on a visor.
Me
Why?
neither.
I don't get it. There's nobody there.
No.
Like
Even if people are there, what am I proving?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I never ever will put on a visor. I've seen guys get in the face. I've seen guys get in the chest. I've seen guys get
Especially
in the
with
knees.
guys who don't know. Guys don't know how to control their sticks out there.
Oh
Guys are just flying them around everywhere. I'm not getting in the middle of that.
No.
Like that. And I hate this excuse like, oh, like you can't see out of a cage. Wear it for one day, you'll be fine.
Oh my God. I feel like
People are so dramatic.
some college hockey players. I don't know. Name a few of them. Luke Hughes. I don't know. Those guys are pretty good. They see out of a cage pretty fine. So
No problem.
Yeah.
The bars don't seem to get in their way.
no, they don't. They don't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No chance I would ever wear a visor out there. Negative. Negative
No.
chance.
Shoulder pads. Are you a shoulder pads guy?
I wear shoulder pads.
Yeah, you have to.
I like being in my full gear. I don't mind. Like
I'm not trying to get hurt.
How could you? I posted a video on whatever TikTok or whatever the other week, and some guy was tripping me for wearing shoulder pads. I'm like, I like wearing them. I don't mind them. It's not like they're uncomfortable.
No, they're totally fine. And God forbid somebody shoots one and you get tipped into your chest or something. You don't need that.
Or if I fall, land on my shoulder, now I'm going to work with like a sling on. Now I'm wearing a sling to work, and now people are asking
trying to be the sling guy.
Why I have a sling on? Also, that's why I don't wear a visor, because now I go to work on Tuesday, and now I got a missing tooth and a black eye.
Yeah, you're not looking for that.
I don't need that.
No, nobody does.
I got bigger problems than that.
And
that's an avoidable one.
That's an avoidable one. Very avoidable.
All right. We'll move on from that tangent. So let's get into a little hockey talk. Last week we did a little series, and we're going to keep it going here. We covered defensemen on their responsibilities and roles in the D zone, neutral zone, and offensive zone. So now we're going to move on to wingers, and we're going to start in the D zone. I was just thinking about this. Should we do goalies one time? I don't think we know.
I don't know if I have the knowledge. Maybe we bring on a guest. I don't know, but we could try.
First guest, maybe. So, okay, regardless, we'll start with wingers in the D zone. I'm going to throw it at you first. What do you think the wingers are responsible for in the D zone?
So I would say there's probably three big things, but one is going to go to all three zones, and I'll touch on it in all three zones.
Okay.
I would say the first thing that's going to happen in all three zones, underrated, huge responsibility for a winger, is going to be off that face-off. You got to engage with the winger that's next to you. So if you win the draw, right, likely those guys that are lined up next to you, those wings, they're trying to go get that puck, right? They're going to go start their forecheck, especially in the D zone. So to give that D some time, you should step into that winger, right? Create a little bit of a battle, 1-2, don't interfere with them, right? And then release. Let that guy go. Now you go to your position. So we'll go to that.
There's nothing better than a wing that sets a pick.
Oh.
Whether it's in the O zone, defensive zone, it creates time for your other teammates who pick up the puck.
Oh, it's great. It is. It makes life so much easier. So that goes to all three zones. Would you agree?
Right. Yeah. Oh, 100%. You got to tie up or you got to engage right away.
Yeah. And then I would say my other two big ones, and I want to hear your two big ones after, is number one responsibility in the D zone. Wingers, if you get that puck, we got to get that puck out, right? We don't need you throwing it to the middle. A lot of the times, and it depends on the system, we don't really need you coming back, right? If you give it to you, we won't really want it back right away unless you're running a bump back up the weak side system, which some teams may do that. But you get that puck on a puck battle on the wall, stay on the D side, just as we talked about with D. If you have it, let's get it out, right? Soft chip to space. Maybe we look to the weak side, but we can't be turning pucks over on the half wall. That's my number one. My number two, right? Let's get in shot lanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, really elite wingers are very, very good at getting in lanes to the point where it's like for a D, it's like, oh my God, like I just got to dump it back in the corner. And that's a win for a winger, right?
Oh yeah.
If
Yep.
my D dumps it back in the corner, I've done my
Yep.
job, right? My head's on a
Yep.
swivel now. I look to them, I look to the corner. So those would be my
Yep.
two things. What would they be for you?
So I want to add to your getting in the lane because that is huge. Like there's nothing harder than being a defenseman and there's a guy in your lane every time you look up. But for wingers, this is what I think about in terms of getting in a lane. First, don't worry about going out at the defenseman right away because you're going to be in a bad angle usually. Work yourself into the shot lane first and then get up ice.
It's a great point.
Right. So take your direct line to get in the shot lane. So then when he does catch that puck, you're automatically in the shot lane. You're not like taking an angle to try to meet him or something. And now you're not in the lane. So work to get, oh, you got a little situation. Oh, I think someone just knocked on Fletcher's door potentially. So, what?
Boys.
What happened? What?
Okay.
Did the maintenance come?
No, this is going to be great for the pod. Oh my God.
Oh God. Go ahead.
My dryer like starts smoking when what do you call the strings on your pants?
The seams?
I don't know. Yeah, the strings. I don't know. Somehow the strings get caught, and I hear this noise, and I see smoke
like
coming out of my.
Like the
yes.
ties? Oh.
I see smoke coming out of my dryer every time, and you start to smell it a little bit, and I heard the noise like. I was like, I gotta leave real quick. So I'm sorry, listeners. Okay. That's where I was. Back to the talk.
Yeah. So work to get in the shot lane, then out into the shot lane. Good stick. You got to have a good stick, active stick in line with his at all times. Okay. So back to mine, I think. So this is coming into the D zone. You have to make sure you are picking up a guy coming back into the D zone. It has to be a guy that's in the play. You know, if there's a guy coming down the far right side, like near the wall, and there's a guy coming down the middle, like you should probably pick up the guy coming to the middle. So you have to be aware. You have to be head checking on your back check, and you can't go on the back check and not pick someone up. Even if it's your D man, pick him up, be on him. So when they're taking line rushes, there's no opportunity for your guy to get lost behind you. You have to be able to pick guys up.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. It helps so much as a defenseman. There's nothing better than a winger who's picking someone up because now it just eliminates one more guy that you have to worry about on a line rush.
Well, I'd say that and, right, like, so Jack just said, right, you got to pick up somebody who's in the play or joining the play, right? In transition, right, a lot of guys will just bury their head and skate back as far as they can.
Yeah.
Right, and as hard as they can, right? You need to have your head up as you're moving, right? Because the strong side D probably has the puck carrier. The weak side D either has the guy driving the middle or the weak side guy, which means the first forward back, which could be a winger or it could be a center. Who do you have? You now have the late forward, their late forward entering the zone. And then guess what? You talk about counting jerseys, that only leaves two other players. So those two guys got the D. So that, and a lot of the times people they call it like pucky sucky, right? Like they'll go right to the puck versus I should just go back by numbers, right? Look, see who I have, and then work out from there.
Right. And one thing also that I think is important is I kind of touched on it a little, like when I was describing that, is but like back check like to the middle, and then you can work out to your spot from there. So if you're a winger, back check towards those like inside hash marks because pucks are gonna drop right in that area, and you're gonna be in a position to pick up a guy, pick up a stick, or pick up the puck. And then from there, if nothing happens, work out to your spot. Work towards the wall. Don't be hanging out back checking down the outside dots.
There's a great drill called through the guts. I've seen it now with a couple teams. They do it here. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have done it. Basically, players in all four corners, one coach at the top of the circles right in the middle, and another coach identical on the other side. On the whistle, those guys are going to back check through the dots. So they're going to kind of slope up. Whoever's going to call for it, coach is going to throw it off that wall. Now they're transition and they're coming back the other way.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way to work on it.
Right. And then my other thing is if you're that winger, you have to be aware of where your defenseman is at all times.
Oh yeah.
You have to be constantly head checking being in a spot where you're putting yourself to be in a good position to deny passes up the wall to that defenseman. Because if you're in a good spot, they're not going to get. It's hard to get the puck up to him, and now you're just eliminating a guy out of their offensive scheme. So if you got to be head checking, you got to have good stick, good body position, and be aware of where that D is. You can't allow him to go on your backside, and now they're finding him backdoor and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a lot of, as a player early on, like this is probably early high school. Like I had a lot of success, right? As a D, if you realize that your winger's like sleeping and he's just watching the puck, you jump right into that slot and boom, now I'm wide open. I get a shot. And I think that as a winger, right, knowing that that's what D are looking for, you have to be aware of where that guy is headed. If he's in a slot, boom, you're in the slot. If he's headed down the wall, either you're passing him off to the D and you're taking the forward that's drop passing it to him, or you're going with him.
Right. Yep. That's one of the main things I look for when I'm at the point. Is where his back is, like where his back and head are. If they're not torn, if his back is to me, I'm trying to find a lane. To get open.
Absolutely.
Because it's easy. It's easy. So all right. So now those were some great things in the defensive zone. Let's go into the neutral zone. So we get the puck out.
What's we're going with now? I would say so for me, right? Let's look at something in the hockey world we call the 5 foot areas. So that would be 5 feet over the blue line on both sides, right? So I guess it would be 10 feet total on each blue line, right? Yep. For a winger, right? It is your responsibility. You got to win the 5 foot areas. The whole team does necessarily.
Yeah.
So in the
changes games.
Oh, changes it. So as a winger now, I'm entering the offensive zone. I'm in the neutral zone still. Number one responsibility, just about how I talked about getting pucks out in the D zone. You got to get pucks in, and you got to get pucks past that 5 foot rule, right? Because if you turn it over there, a lot of the times we're going to be swinging. Our D may be changing. You may want to change, right? We got to get pucks in, right? When we do, those dumps need to be attainable, just as we talked about with the D. Now, on the defensive side, I would say that the number one thing, at least not number one, because I already said that getting pucks in was number one. A very large, I could say number one on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's what you said. Defensive side.
Number one on the defensive side would be there are a lot of opportunities to use your stick and body positioning to force opponents where you want them to. Yep. So, for example, right, I know I have my 2D that are inside the dots. If I now, as a winger, go outside the dots, where am I forcing their opponent? Where am I forcing that guy to go? I'm forcing him into the middle. I don't want that, right? I want to set my D up for success. So if I position myself kind of to the inside, I can force that guy up the wall and force a dump. We call it like creating a hinge or creating a triangle, right? Use your body positioning and angle and force that guy, right? Take good neutral zone angles to dump it or place it in an area where our guys can get to it first. So knowing where you are on the ice can be a huge benefit for that.
I'll add to that, like even if you don't, take a great angle and you don't force that dump, but you're with that guy and you're on his back hip, for a defenseman, it makes it so much easier to have confidence to be able to gap up and make a play on him where now the defenseman can force a dump, because you know that if, say, you get walked or he chips it around you or something, you have that forward kind of coming now on your backside. Like if he were to, make a move on you or something, now that winger can kind of take your spot.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit more freedom as a defenseman when you have that winger also like kind of on the guy's backside.
Yeah.
To be a little bit more aggressive and like play it more aggressively and force dumps and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Like I think if I look at like teams that did this really, really well, I want to say that Tampa runs a 1-3-1 forecheck. And I also want to say that Quinnipiac runs a 1-3-1 forecheck.
I think they do. We got that. We run the same neutral zone as they do.
And they did such a good job. Both these teams do. Yep. Right? Their wingers are not flying all over the place, right? They have a D that's so good at going back and getting pucks that like it's not a huge issue. Yep. But their wingers are in the perfect position to where they're forcing that player to make a play. They're not giving them the middle of the ice. They're aware of where they're on the ice. Sometimes it's a center, a D, and a winger. Sometimes it's a D, and a center. Like it doesn't matter, right? It's a 5-man sport. You could be anywhere at any time. But I would say like teams like that, if you watch their wingers, we talked about watching NHL hockey last time, right? If you watch what they're doing, right, notice their body positioning, notice where they're forcing guys. So I would say getting
Yep.
pucks in and knowing where you are on the ice, those are my two for the neutral zone.
Yep. So I had the exact same thing written down for like the first one about blue lines is you cannot turn pucks over at the blue lines, whether it's your own blue line or their blue line. And like you said, 5-foot rule. Like it is so important that you get it beyond those lines. Like because like you said again, it messes up line changes, especially for defensemen. Because forwards, once you kind of get it into the neutral zone, like usually a winger center can change and there's no repercussions. Defenseman, you can't.
Nope.
Unless you're the near side D and it's like a turnover at the far blue line, then you're probably fine. But that far side D, if you have to get it all the way into the zone for that guy to have confidence to come over and get off.
It would be such an interesting.
It is so important.
It would be that such an interesting statistic to see how many goals are scored off of failed entries in the second period. Right, because long change.
Oh, that's the worst.
Like, so D get caught out there for 2 minutes at a time, minute 45 at a time, which in college is a super long shift. Like you'd hope to be between 30 and 50 probably.
Right.
So on that entry, right, if we do a non-attainable dump, as in we dump it, we hard rim it like we talked about last time, and we go for a change, or I turn over. Oh, I'm right by the bench. I could change. I'm just one of 5 guys. Whoa. Now you've set everything into disaster in terms of the forecheck, in terms of where you want to be on the ice.
Yep, it's not just about you. And then the other thing this kind of goes for offensive zone and neutral zone is if you're skating up with the puck, change your angle of skating. Don't just skate in a straight line. So utilize crossovers to get that defenseman to kind of have to move his feet a little bit because it's really easy to gap up on a forward that's just skating straight down the wall.
Yep.
So use your angles to kind of change the way you're skating, change your angles to make it a little bit harder to defend against.
Yeah, I would agree.
It creates more space for you.
I would agree 100%. Like as a D, right, especially young D, like youth audience we're probably talking to, right? You're taught to, right, watch the chest, right? I'm going to stay square to that guy. So if I can like point my skates in one direction, get that D to shift, and then explode in the other direction. There's a great goal that Kucherov scored against the Panthers in game 1 of last year's playoffs, I want to say. He kind of came in, he got squared to the corner. Ekblad kind of shifted, and Kucherov exploded in the other direction. He had a 2-on-1. Like it was a beautiful, beautiful play. And you talk about, right, that's a high-level D watching the shoulders of a high-level player, right? So if you're a youth hockey player, right, and you can get D who aren't as developed as Ekblad, right, to start crossing over, right, use that to your advantage. It'd be huge.
I was just gonna say, if you can get a defenseman to cross over, you've totally just opened yourself up to the other side, and you'll probably have so much room to cut back and now make a play. Because as soon as they cross over, all their body shifting that way. Now their feet are getting tangled up in a sense. Now they have to get back towards the other way. It just creates a whole nother level of problems when you cross over.
Oh, it's huge.
So I think, changing your angle is big for guys skating in the neutral zone and as they enter the offensive zone.
So we talked a little bit about, I just want to touch on this. We got to at the end of last pod a little bit, right? Knowing what the enemy is doing, right? I think the analogy you said was like war. Maybe I said that analogy. Right. I don't know. But
I said that. Yeah. I said that.
Right, as a winger, right, I know the D wants to deny the middle. So if I can attack the middle, if I can attack the middle at the right time, that's awesome. As a winger, the D do not want to cross over. If I can make that D cross over, that's great. As a winger that if I turn it over, they're going to try to catch me in transition. So if I do turn it over, I got to stop on that puck. I got to sprint back, right? So knowing what the opponent is doing is going to be huge for success at any level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you feel about, so this is same kind of concept of coming from the neutral zone into the offensive zone. How do you feel about the importance of getting the puck to the middle and then distributing from there?
So my U16 team, we were a very solid team, and the coach harped every single day. We would do this drill. We'd have 3 lines on the blue line, the far blue line. Pucks would be in the middle, and the center would skate it into the zone, and he'd kick it out, right? Enter in the middle, he'd kick it out. You're forcing the D to make a decision. I can't give this guy a breakaway. I'm going to move over. Now I kick it out. I create space. I drive the net. To this day, and every single rep of 3-on-2s that I see in practice, that I see in games that we watch in NHL, when there's a net drive And when the puck's been distributed from the middle to the outside, that's when you see success.
I agree, especially like if you're taking a line rush as a defenseman, you and your defensive partner now have to communicate who's going to slide over to take that guy in the middle.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then from there they distribute. But if you're just skating, you have the puck on the outside, it is so much easier for a defenseman to gap up on you and take away options. If you're just skating in the zone on the wall, now he can take away that option. Now your other defenseman has to make a decision, but it takes away, it kind of eliminates you if he has a good gap and a good stick. Like, and it's hard to make plays with the stick in your face. So yeah, I think it's super important to start, if you can get the puck to the middle on a line rush and then distribute from there, it causes so much more chaos and confusion and like more communication on the other end, defensive end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now look, there's going to be a lot of time where you can't enter in the middle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you can still have that net drive, which often may be a winger, sometimes it's going to be a center, it could even be a D, right? If that
Right.
D's joined the rush, right?
Yeah.
Being able to know what the other team's doing, they don't want you in the middle. I'm going to go to the middle, right? And I'm going to make a responsible play at the boards and hopefully end up in a goal.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so now let's move into the offensive zone. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you start us off with the ozone.
Okay. Well, I don't have too much written down for the ozone.
You're good.
Okay, so one thing that I think is really like underlooked at, I think maybe at like the NHL level, kind of Division 1, they kind of get the concept of creating space for your teammates.
Oh yeah.
So being, using a pick on defenders. So if
Ooh,
you and your center or other winger are scissoring, and for, scissoring is when you guys kind of cut across each other. One guy has the puck, the other doesn't. It can either be a drop pass or the guy continues with the puck. If you can cause chaos in that scissor, so what I mean by that is if you can set kind of a mini pick on the guy defending your teammate with the puck, now that defender has to deviate his course and go around you in one way or the other, and that causes, it's really hard to defend when someone gets in your way.
Oh yeah.
And it can cause a lot of confusion between them as defenders, and it creates space for your teammate. So I think one thing in the offensive zone is learn how to create space for others using your body by setting picks, setting screens, and then causing chaos by scissoring with your teammates and supporting them all over the ice. Because then it opens up stuff for you as well.
Oh, 100%. And I think that when you talk about setting picks, right, there's a little bit of acting going on, right? You got to sell it a little bit, right? Because you could get called for interference if you just body the defender, right?
Yeah.
So selling it a little bit. I know if anybody's a college hockey fan out there, Cornell down low, that is a huge staple for them, right? Setting picks, creating offense for each other. Yeah. My go-tos for this, and it builds off of Jack's comments of setting picks and creating space, is once that puck goes low to high, so I've passed it to my D, I got to get to the net. And I got to get to the front of the net. I got to take the goalie's eyes away. I can't be off to the side, kind of waving my stick. And sometimes a pick may be beneficial to get there. If the team that you're playing against is a man-on-man system, you set one pick, and now I'm at the net by myself. So I think that getting to that net is huge. It's huge. You got anything to add to that one?
Well, I'll say on the other side of that, looking at it from a defenseman standpoint, when that puck goes to the point and you have your guy in the corner, you have to cause as much trouble as you can for him to get to that net.
Legal trouble.
Now there's there's a fine line between interfering with them and like making it obvious, and then there's another one on the other side of that, you can hold them up and it looks just like a normal hockey play. Like there's so many times, especially once you get to the higher levels, like they let you battle it out a little bit more when you don't have the puck. Like you could, at least for like, you could get in full on like war almost in the corners, coming out of the corners, and like no calls are, because you're just battling for position, and it's understood that you guys are battling and no one has the puck. So I think you have to try to cause as much chaos for that guy to get to the net. You can't let him have a direct line to the net.
Now I have a question for you. I don't know if you remember this. That first week in Springfield, the second year, we were doing a drill where there would be 2D in front of the net, coach in the middle at the like hash marks, and forwards in the corner. And it was a full-on war. I'm talking There was no penalties. You could do anything you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guys it was a full on battle. And I remember, I think I got somebody in the face one time with a cross check,
Oh,
and coach
probably.
lit me
Yeah.
up, which he should have. I mean, it's a dumb thing for me
Yeah.
to do. But I remember thinking there, I was like, looking back, I'm like, I can't believe like I even did that. Like that is just ridiculous. Like the whole thing is ridiculous. But
Oh yeah.
it just shows, right? Getting to that's pretty important at any level.
So in college, especially my junior year, our coach really harped on like defensemen, like and forwards, like getting to the net, like on both sides. Like forwards, you need to do everything you can to get to the net. Defensemen, you need to do everything to not let him get to the net. So every Monday we did this drill. I forget what it's called. If my roommate, he knows like every drill, and he would be cracking up when I'm telling this. But it was a drill where it's like you pass to the point, and then from there, the defenseman and forward are standing in the corner together,
Okay.
and it's a battle to get to the net. And then on the other side, the puck goes up to the point, and it's a 2-on-2.
And there's a 2-on-2 down the ice?
No, 2-on-2 in front of the
Okay.
net. And then the third guy rolls over the top and shoots, and it's like a 3-on-2, and then a line rush down. But that really taught, because we were doing it every single Monday. And my dad always harped on me about this too, about like, you got to be a motherfucker in front of the net and stuff. And I was like, that's not really my game. Like, I don't really like it. But then we started doing this in my junior year, this battle drill. And I kind of found ways where I could really, really deny guys getting to the net without being like, overly aggressive and stuff. And it really helped me like play less defense.
Oh yeah.
Because now my guy's not even close to the puck, and it just made my life so much easier by denying him out of the corner versus waiting till he gets to the net to battle.
Oh yeah.
I was battling with him in the corner instead, and it made my life so much easier.
I love what you said there about right, makes your job easier and my guy's not away from the net. Right. And this is for D, this is for forwards, right? This is going to happen to everybody. Like forward, you get caught low in the D zone, you're playing at the front of the net. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Take responsibility, right? That is your guy, right? If you're in a battle with him, he's yours, right? If the puck's at the point and you're locked up with him and he tips it, it's your fault, right? It's also the guy who didn't block the shot's fault. But what I'm saying is like, take responsibility for that, right? These battles to get to the net for a winger in the O-zone, right? Go win the battle, right? Take pride in that. Take accountability in that, right? And get to the front of the net. So that's what that's what I would say for a huge responsibility. Not only Jack says talking about for D, but for wingers too.
Yeah. And I'll add to this because we have a little bit of time here. So I get a lot of questions on like how forwards can score more goals in general. Right? I get this question all the time on like social media, like, hey, I'm struggling to score. What should I do? And for me, I always have to take a second to answer because it depends so much on what kind of forward you are.
Yeah, it's good.
Right? Because not everyone is built the same. Not everyone has the same skating level, skill level, and stuff. But in general, what do you think can help a player score more if they're struggling or they want to become, more effective in scoring?
I would say I'm going to give two answers. I'm going to give a simple answer and a complex answer. My simple answer is if you wanted pizza, where would you go?
I'd go to the pizza store.
All right. What if you wanted like a donut?
The donut shop.
And what if you wanted a goal?
I'd go to the net.
Go to the net.
I knew. I say that every time, dude.
Net.
The puck has to go there. You might as well put yourself there.
You gotta go to the net. I think that is number one. Is get to the net.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, right? Recognize as a forward, right? When is the time to be creative and when is the time to be simple? Like a joking comment that I hear a lot is right. The O-zone, and especially going to be behind the goal line, maybe lower than the hash marks. That's a creative zone. Do whatever you want down there. If we have the right defensive positioning, if you're feeling yourself and you want to attempt something down low, 200 feet away from the goal, our own goalie. Okay, try it. But let's not be creative on the entries that often, right? Maybe if it's there, sure. But we're not looking to that every single time. So recognize when to be creative, when to not be. And then simple, right? You never know what's going to happen. Throw something on net, hits a shin pad, goes in. Maybe it hits you and it goes in. Maybe it hits a stanchion. Right? Like a on the glass, on a rim, and it goes in, right? You never know. So simplify, know when to be creative. And if you wanted pizza, you go to the pizza store, you want goals, let's get to the net.
Go to the net store. Go to the goal score at the net.
I love it.
So yeah, so I think like I totally agree with those, and that those are my answers. So I'm gonna go and try to be a little bit more creative here. And I think the first thing that you have to do as any player who wants to do something, right, is you have to take a step back and kind of analyze your game, realize what you're good at. So I'll just give an example. So if you're a bigger forward and you're not the shiftiest guy, you don't have the greatest hands, but you have a really good shot, like a quick release, and you're a big body. The two things that I'm going to focus on personally is one, like you said, getting to the net and being a menace in front of the net, because it's really hard to move a big guy out of front of the net. So I'm going to make sure that I am in front of the net as much as I can. And then the next thing I'm going to make sure to do, because I identified this, I'm going to try to find now soft spots on the ice where I'm able to catch and release and shoot.
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to find areas on the ice where I know that based on my skill level and what I'm good at, I'm going to put myself in those positions more often than not. I'm probably not going to be in the corner trying to do a bunch of cutbacks and slip it through a guy's leg and then get to the net.
No,
because that's not my game.
No. And
I'm going to try.
Like you said, finding the space, right? You got to move your feet to find space, right? A lot of guys will kind of like coast around the zone, like, oh, like I'm in the high slot, like there's nobody around me. It's like, no, like
there's a stick a foot away from you.
Exactly. Like go engage in the battle. And then when you think it's right, boom, I pop to that spot. Now I'm open. Or right now there's somebody on me. I pop to another spot.
Yeah. Go watch. Don't go watch NHL. Go watch Steph Curry get open for shots.
Ooh, that's good.
Have you ever seen him run around the court and he uses picks around people? He uses other people's bodies to create space for himself by running around the court and learning how to use because he's not the biggest guy. He's like whatever in the NBA. I think he's 6'3". So he's not the biggest guy, but he knows how to create space for himself by, his handles, but then also using other people around him to his advantage.
Oh, you just dropped a golden nugget for these listeners. Yep. A little golden nugget.
Watch other sports. Watch how they create space in other sports.
Gold.
It's incredible. So, yeah, I think that wraps it up for me in terms of the winger talk. Do you have anything else or any other hockey comments that you want to make or bring up?
I would say one little tiny detail, right? When there is a turnover in the O zone for a winger, right? We stop on the puck. We sprint back through the middle with our stick on the ice. Call that reloading or back checking. You never know when a D is going to fumble it and it comes right to you. Maybe he's looking cross ice. He doesn't see you back checking. Boom. Now it's on your tape, right? A lot of turnovers come from those reloads. Let's remember to do that on the defensive side of the puck.
I think, too, a mini thing that you just said there that's super important, stick on the ice. You never know when a puck's going to come flying across and your stick's there. Now you can tip it. If it's in the air, you're probably not going to get to that puck.
One of the best.
You got to have your stick in the lanes.
One of the best analogies I ever heard is I was working at a summer camp, as they do every summer, and kid was holding a stick like this, just like this, up in the air. And one of the other counselors looked at him and said, "Buddy, it is not a flag." Like holding a stick like this. It's not a flag. Yeah. It's not a flag.
It's not a flag.
It's not a flag. It's a hockey stick.
It is. Yeah. Put that thing on the ice. Use it to your advantage as much as you possibly can.
Love it.
So does that wrap up hockey talk?
I think so.
That was fantastic in my book.
That was good. That was really good.
That was good.
I love it.
Not to pat ourselves on the back, but
I'm patting ourselves on the back. That was good.
We did good on that one. Okay, nice. So I'll get into it. I'll introduce it. So this past weekend, we don't like to introduce dates because this is a timeless podcast with tons of golden nuggets.
Unless it's me dissecting a grasshopper's ass on Valentine's Day.
True. Then there's dates involved in that. But this past Sunday was the Super Bowl, where we had the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles going toe-to-toe in a pretty good battle.
It was a great battle.
So I want to get your take first off on the commercials. Did you watch, by the way?
I did. I did watch. I was not a fan of the commercials this year.
They were lame.
No, they were lame. I'm usually looking for a good Doritos. I'm looking for a good M&Ms. There wasn't a lot of it. One commercial that did intrigue me was the Nike one, like about Phil Knight, Matt Damon and somebody else. They're making a movie about Shoe Dog.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
That was the one. That's my number one commercial, but not impressed whatsoever with
No,
the commercials this year.
there really wasn't any like, I don't know, not that I chuckled at maybe one or two, but none where I was like, not like those old Doritos commercials
Yeah.
or like this Bud Light ones that had like the storylines behind them and stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. They were pretty mild, and the only thing I was glad of was, besides the Jesus commercials, from what I can remember, like there wasn't too much like political
Yeah, there
like
wasn't. It wasn't.
stance being taken. It seemed like they toned it down a lot with that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I didn't. I can't say I paid too much attention to that. I was more so hunting for those funny ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, the commercial. Even if the commercials were great, I don't think they'd top the game. I loved the game. It was a great
The
game.
game was unbelievable. Do you think that call at the end was a holding or not?
You know what? After I listened to some of the interviews with the Eagles players, it sounds like it was a holding. Now, I got beef with this though, because Juju Smith-Schuster on Twitter.
Dude, the tweets.
Juju Smith-Schuster on Twitter posted a Valentine's Day card with the guy who held him. The caption was the card said, "I'll hold you when it matters most, to and from." Now, dude, I just athlete to athlete. I get that you're in the NFL. I get that you make way more money than I do. I get that, right? But person to person, man, like that is messed up, right? Sportsmanship, karma, it's all going to come back. So, not a good move. Not cool.
I did not like that at all. I saw a thing where it was like one of the Eagles players tweeted back at him. And it's like, oh God, we're gonna get in a Twitter war here. But it's like, I had more interceptions than you had touchdowns all season, and I was like, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
but he did win a ring, so
I know it's just
like, yeah, I saw that tweet. I was like, dude, come on, like have a little bit of respect for a guy that you just crushed his dreams essentially.
Yeah, you don't. It's messed up. I don't even like talking about it. It makes me cringe. So anyway, the game was good. I love Jalen Hurts. He played a great game. I'm happy for him. He carries himself so well in the press conferences. Mahomes did good too. I mean, it was a great game.
That was an unreal game. That was probably one of the. I mean, actually, last Super Bowl was pretty good too. But that was one of the better Super Bowls that I think I've seen.
Oh, speaking of tweets though, I saw a great tweet. Remember the Chiefs guy didn't run in for the touchdown. He took a knee right before the goal line.
Yeah.
So I saw a picture of that. It said this picture should be hanging in all high school locker rooms. You just had a guy who could have fulfilled his childhood dream of scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and he sacrificed that for the team. I did like that tweet way more than the Juju one.
I did. I saw that too. And the only thing I was thinking about that is, I mean, that's a pretty common play for players to do. And it's happened in other Super Bowls too, where guys have taken knees on the 1 yard line. But overall, yes, I agree that I think that's such a good lesson for players to learn about like team winning versus personal accolades.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think about the halftime show?
You know what? I love the music. I'm a big Rihanna fan.
She's a legend. She's a legend.
Some great songs. Diamonds, Where Have You Been? Only Girl in the World. Some great songs. One thing I was interested in, I don't watch enough Rihanna. I've never been to a Rihanna performance or anything, but she seemed a bit like disinterested almost. I don't know.
Well,
she's pregnant.
I think it was because she was pregnant.
Yeah, but like,
so
does
she
that make
you move around too much?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
You can't move around like too much when you're pregnant.
That's true. That's true.
Well, and like the speakers and who knows? Like, can you imagine being that baby? Like when you're born and you're like 18 or like whatever 15, they're like, oh, like here's a video of your mom performing the Super Bowl with you in her stomach.
It's pretty. I mean, I give her a lot of respect. It can't be an easy thing to do, especially standing up like on those floating like things that they had going there.
Oh yeah. Well, and you know how much prep goes into that too?
Oh,
like like the amount of time she had to spend while pregnant, like preparing for the Super Bowl halftime performance is like crazy.
It was good. It was good.
It was good. I like how simple they kept it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's singing, they're dancing. I thought they were going to bring out Eminem or Jay-Z.
Oh, I thought Jay-Z was coming out for sure. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't bring out anyone. I feel like they usually do bring out like one other person.
Well, I want to say last year they brought out like a ton.
Well, that was in the LA one with like Snoop Dogg and all that.
Kendrick and all those guys,
Yeah, right. That one was pretty
50.
crazy. It just had too much going on.
There was a lot going on in that one. I liked it. Yeah. It was good. The performance was good. The game was good. It was a good experience. It was good. It was good to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so I want to ask you this question. So if you were, in quotes, designing the Super Bowl, I got 2 questions for you. One, I'll start out. Okay, one, where would you play the Super Bowl at? Like if you were designing it, or where would you set the stage for the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna go Florida or
Of
LA.
course.
Now those are very conservative answers. I'm gonna give it wild take here.
Okay.
Maybe we put the Super Bowl on an aircraft carrier.
That would be unreal, actually.
They do basketball on an aircraft carrier.
True. Oh, they could
I'm
definitely
pretty
do a
sure
football
Army
field out
plays
there.
Navy on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
It's really cool, actually. That would be, and it's like super exclusive.
Oh,
That would be
that's my more liberal answer.
That's actually unreal. Hold on, let me write this down before I forget. Hold on.
Because I want to hear yours too.
Okay, yeah, running. Okay, so so Chicago. So there was a racetrack in Arlington Heights, Illinois, which is west of the city. My family lives about like 20 minutes from there. They used to have a horse racing track there, and a couple of years ago, it closed down during COVID. I think maybe right after COVID, it closed down, and now so they have this huge plot of land there. Well, the Bears just officially bought it today. They've been talking about it, and I'm pretty sure they just officially announced that they bought the plot of land today.
Wow.
So they're supposed to be building. They're not for sure yet because they still might play downtown Soldier Field, but they're supposed to be putting up this massive stadium there indoor with like all like a bunch of restaurants are on there. They're supposed to create like a ton of jobs in that area. So that's where I want to see the Super Bowl, in Chicago, right by my house, 20 minutes. Some of my friends live 5 minutes away. They have condos there now, 5 minutes away from this area.
Now here's a hot take.
Unreal.
Here's a hot take I have on that. Now that I hear that opinion. Okay. The purpose of the Super Bowl, right? We're deciding the best team in the league. The best team in the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
gonna say,
when we're indoors, we're limiting the environmental conditions that could affect the game, which
right.
I think for the Super Bowl is a plus, right? I don't want wind or anything playing a factor, really.
Yeah, no, I totally
Same with the
agree.
ground. Like I don't need people slipping like they were this year. Right? I want team versus team. I want to see who the best team is.
Mm-hmm.
Or is the best team, and this is what I'm torn on. Does dealing with the environment make them the best team? That's what I'm torn with.
Well, okay, so then you'd have to make it 50-50. Like if you're playing Seattle versus Buffalo, the first half would have to be raining, and the second half would have to be snow.
Maybe that's what they're going to do in Chicago.
You know
Aircraft carrier, snow.
But the Super Bowl doesn't have to be inside. It just has to be in a warm area. Warm, because they had it in Tampa when the Bucks won it, and that's an outdoor stadium.
Yeah, it's right.
I think they just try to take out like the cold factor out of it.
That's fair. That's totally fair. So, all right, yeah, I would say that's where I would have it. What was the other question?
Okay, so my other question. So now I got a comment though about the Super Bowl because it really pisses me off. But I'll ask you the question: who would be your halftime performer?
Ooh, anybody?
I don't know.
Deceased or alive?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Avicii.
Ooh,
I'm gonna learn how to love without you. That's what I'm going with.
Does he sing those songs or does someone else?
No. He's just the
DJ.
He was
DJ, right?
the DJ. He passed away.
Right. What if you had? That'd be cool if you had like live singers for those songs though.
Yeah,
so like
cool.
someone singing and then like he's mixing. So
that would be cool.
That'd be sick. I would go with I want to go with not necessarily AC/DC, but a rock band. I want to be
Def Leppard.
I would love to see that stadium just rocking out.
You know, Def Leppard has a one-armed drummer. He's got one arm.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Def Leppard's got one arm drummer. I'm gonna confirm
smokes. That's unreal, actually. Okay. So this is my last comment I want to make about the Super Bowl, and it also applies to the NBA Finals as well. And I guess any sport that isn't hockey, probably. The thing that really pisses me off about the NBA Finals championship, the Super Bowl, and probably, MLB or whatever, but it pisses me off that right when they win, they can't even celebrate with their team because there's so many camera crews on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You can't even hug your teammates or find them because there's camera crews everywhere. There's all these media people. Like, you do not need to be on the field right now. What are you getting out of this?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like you'd think with basketball, right? There's only 11 or 15 guys a team,
12
probably.
guys.
Yeah, 12 guys
on the roster, I think.
Okay, so 12 guys on the roster. Football, we got probably 100 plus. So
no, it's like 55 in the NFL.
All right, I'm an idiot. Sorry.
College has like 100.
Okay, so say 55 plus, right? Maybe you know everybody on the team, maybe you don't. I don't know how close you are. Basketball, you'd think they'd want to. Football, I don't know if they'd want to, but hockey, I think that's what makes hockey so special is like you got your 23 guys, 24 guys, maybe 28 with the scratches, and that's what you're going with.
But and then also on hockey, like there's glass everywhere, so people can't just run on the ice.
Yeah.
Like you get to celebrate with the 25 guys that you just battled the whole 80-game season with. You get to celebrate with them right away.
Yeah, that's
like
a great point.
That is the first people you get to hug, you get to hold the trophy with, everything. In the NFL, NBA, as soon as that whistle blows, there's 100 camera crews on there, and you can't even find like a guy who you just went to war with for 8 months straight, and he's your best friend, and you can't even celebrate with him because there's all these camera crews. It drives me up a wall.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that. I mean, it happens so fast. The next thing you know, they're on the stage, and it's over.
Last one. How do you feel about, so for the NFL, they hand the trophy to the owner first?
Yeah,
that's
I don't
the first
love
person.
That. I don't. I mean, it depends. If they love the owner, like I'm for it. I don't know if everybody does. I also saw a really questionable video of Roger Goodell hugging, what's the guy's name? Frank Jones, is that his name? He's a
The owner of the.
No, he was hugging like a lineman. Chris Jones, maybe. I think his name is maybe it's Chris. I don't know. He's on the Chiefs. And he said,
is he a defenseman lineman?
Yeah.
Defenseman lineman? Oh, okay, yeah.
And he said to him, he was like, I don't care. I don't care how you hit the quarterback. And I was like, what? Like, that's an odd thing to say for a commissioner of the league. But I don't know.
He's trying to protect his quarterbacks.
Yeah, very interesting. But I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe the NFL's rigged. Who knows? Script.
Maybe they scripted that Super Bowl. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But all right, does this wrap up episode number 7 of the No One Told Me Hockey podcast?
This wraps up episode 7, arguably, and I say this after every single podcast.
We usually don't say it though on the cast.
I'm saying this one on the cast. Arguably one of our best yet. We talked about dissecting worms. We talked about men's league. We talked about exploding skates, the responsibilities of a winger, the Super Bowl, a whole range of stuff. But honestly, one of my favorites yet. Would you agree?
I honestly forgot we were on a podcast there.
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
That was unreal. It was a great hang today. I know you got a lot going on, so good luck with playoffs, good luck with school, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow morning.
Right on. Everybody be safe. Follow Jack on TikTok at HockeyAid, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. See you, Fletcher.
Yep.